Have you ever really stopped to think about where words come from? Not just their dictionary definitions, but their real stories, their families. Well, here's a little secret. Words are not lonely islands. They belong to these huge, interconnected families, and each one has an incredible story to tell. So let's jump right in and uncover some of them. I mean, what if we could just ditch the painful process of memorizing endless lists of words? What if, instead, we could become word detectives, piecing together clues and uncovering these hidden connections? That's exactly the big idea we're going to unpack today, how seeing words as families completely changes the game. So here's our game plan. We're going to start with words about our closest relationships, then we'll literally map out the physical world. After that, we'll dive into our own emotions, tackle the language of power, and finally, we'll pull back the curtain on the hidden web that ties this whole thing together. First up, let's talk about the words that basically hold our society together. Think about it. Language is how we build bridges to other people. This first family of words is all about those connections that bind us, from our most trusted friends to our deepest family bonds. Okay, so take a word like confidant. The secret to understanding it is hiding in plain sight. It comes from confide, which itself is built on the Latin root fidere, and that just means to trust. So a confidant isn't just any friend, they're someone you have total and complete faith in. And you see this same root everywhere. Think of words like fidelity, which is faithfulness, or bona fide, meaning in good faith. They're all part of the same family, a family built completely on trust. Now this one is really cool because it literally breaks down a feeling. Congenial isn't just about someone being nice. See, con means with or together, and genius here doesn't mean super smart. It originally meant a person's guiding spirit. So when someone is congenial, you literally share a spirit with them. It's that easy, comfortable vibe you get when you just click. And then there's kinship. This word is all about our roots. It can be about family, your kin, or it can be about a shared culture or origin. It's that powerful sense of belonging you feel when you share a common background, a story that connects you to something bigger than yourself. So you see the pattern here, right? Confident, congenial, kinship. They're all just different ways of talking about the same thing. They all point to our most fundamental human needs for trust, for a shared spirit, for a sense of belonging, and for closeness. This is the vocabulary of connection. Okay, so we've covered our social world, but what about the physical one? Our language also gives us the tools to map, to measure, and to understand the very ground we're standing on. Let's dig into our next section and see how that works. This is where the word detective stuff gets really, really cool. So you have geo, which comes from Greek, and terra, its cousin from Latin. Guess what? They both just mean earth. This is a classic pattern in English, by the way. Having both a Greek and a Latin root for the same idea gives our language incredible richness. Now just watch what happens when you know this one little fact. Look at this word family. Geography is literally earth writing. How cool is that? Terrestrial beings, like us, are creatures of the earth, as opposed to, say, creatures from the sky or the sea. Then you have topography, which is about describing a place on earth, and cartography, the art of drawing maps of our world. They all share that same DNA. They all come back to that one core idea, earth. You see the pattern? It's everywhere. All right, we've gone from the outer world, so now let's turn inward. Our emotional landscape is just as complicated and massive as any physical place. And of course, our language has this incredibly rich vocabulary to describe every high point of happiness and every low valley of sorrow. And this just shows how incredibly specific we can be. You're not just happy, right? You might be jovial, which is that warm, cheerful kind of friendliness. Or maybe you're feeling convivial, which is more about enjoying a lively party atmosphere. And on the flip side, sadness isn't just one thing either. Melancholy is that quiet, thoughtful kind of sadness, while anguish is a deep, almost physical pain. Each word paints a totally different emotional picture.
To make this stuff stick, let's take jubilation. It's not just being happy, it's an absolute explosion of joy. Think about that moment in Harry Potter when your house wins the house cup, or when you finally catch the golden snitch. That feeling of pure, triumphant victory, that's jubilation. It's an active, celebratory kind of happiness.
And then you have its opposite, despondency. This is way more than just being sad. This is the crushing weight of having lost all hope. Picture the people of Rohan in The Lord of the Rings, facing this impossible army, their king is under a spell. That feeling that all is lost, that there's no way out, that is despondency. Okay, so we've covered personal connections, the physical world, and our inner emotions. Let's move on to something a little more abstract, but every bit as powerful: the systems we build to govern ourselves. And here we go again with another one of those master keys that unlocks a ton of vocabulary, the Greek suffix krasi. It just means rule by or government. Seriously, once you know this, you can start taking apart and understanding a whole bunch of political terms. It's like having a secret decoder ring for language. In this table just lays it out perfectly. A monarchy is ruled by one person. An oligarchy is ruled by a few, from the Greek oligos. A plutocracy is ruled by the wealthy, from plutos. And a theocracy? That's ruled by religious leaders, from theos, meaning God. All of these different, complex systems, and you can understand them all by knowing one simple suffix. So, after exploring connection, place, emotion, and power, what have we really learned? What's the big takeaway? We've seen over and over again that underneath all these different words, there's this beautiful, logical structure hiding in plain sight. And this right here is the ultimate point. Vocabulary is not a random list of words you have to memorize for a test. It's a living, breathing network. Every single word has relatives, it has a history, and it has a story. And understanding that network, that's the real key to mastering a language. So how can you actually put this into practice? It's a really simple 3-step process. First, when you find a new word, try to figure out its family theme. Is it about power? Is it about emotions? Second, hunt for that root word that gives it its core meaning. And third, connect it to a story. It can be from a book, a movie, your own life, anything that makes it real and unforgettable for you. Look, we have just scratched the surface today, uncovering just a few of these secret families. But there are thousands and thousands more out there, each one just waiting for you to discover it. So the next time you run into a word you don't know, don't just look up its definition. Ask yourself, what family does this belong to? And what story is it trying to tell me? The adventure is just getting started.